What's good, YouTube? Dmgaming here, guys. I have this dawned on me. Okay, first I want to give a very special shout out to this gentleman here, man. Dar1, guys. This
What's
guy
good,
here, man. This comment, he sent it to me when I was at work, and I glanced over it and replied, but I got to sitting on the couch when I got home, and I was like going over some things in my head because for some reason Fusion Reborn was stuck in my head, and this is why, by the way, what he said. And you know, because all before, remember I told y'all with the new DLC, the next two DLCs after Bardock are going to be story DLCs, right? So guys, Fusion Reborn is extremely possible. And in this video, I'm going to cover just exactly why. So if you're new to the channel, man, do me a solid and subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything to hit the subscribe button. And it helps us out on the channel tremendously. So, and it keeps you up to date with the best Dragon Ball Z Kakarot news out there. So, Fusion Reborn, like I glanced over it and I was like, nah, man. But when I got home, I watched Fusion Reborn. And I went back and read his comment here. You can pause it and read it for yourself. And as I got to reading, I mean, the first one is, come on, DM, where's your sense of imagination? And you are exactly right, because guys, when I first started covering this game, my imagination ran wild. And over time, I got to the point where I started thinking more logically. And every now and then, guys, we need a reminder of self. And we don't know it all. And I'm the type of person, like, if I feel like I know it, I feel like I know it. And that can be a blessing and it can be a curse as well. So thank you so much, Dar, because you have an extremely plausible point. And I'm going to expound on it, okay? I'm going to add to it because Fusion Reborn, guys, there are some things, this is how it's possible. Because if you go off the movie itself, Fusion Reborn is not possible for a story episode. It's only good enough for a boss battle episode. However, if you add the other world, what happened with Goku in the other world to this, then it becomes extremely plausible, guys. Because there are some things, if you look at the way that the DLCs have gone, okay, they all answer very specific questions. All right. So I'm going to go to just for, you know, being able to click on some stuff here, just so we're not just looking at the same thing the whole time. Continuity, I guess. When you looked at these first couple DLCs, they all answer the question. Okay. After Dragon Ball Z in the game, the next question was, well, what happens next? Boom, Battle of Gods. Well, Goku and Vegeta, you know, got this new transformation. What happens after that? Boom, Fukasu no F. Now, with the story arcs, History of Trunks, and we know we're getting Bardock, they're beginning to answer some very important questions that we already know as longtime fans of the series. But remember that this game was made for people who came into Dragon Ball through Dragon Ball Super and who haven't necessarily heard the story of Z and the backstory of Goku. Similar to how a lot of us came into the Dragon Ball universe through Dragon Ball Z and Toonami back in the day. And we really didn't know the backstory through watching Dragon Ball. So we had to go back and watch Dragon Ball. Okay. Guys, stick with me, man. So the first question that the story arc answered was, hey, that Trunks guy, what's his story? What's his universe like? What's his backstory? Boom. History of Trunks DLC. Okay. Now we're getting into, hey, Goku, you know, they kind of talk about him a little bit about his past throughout the game in a sense. But with him being an alien or a Saiyan from a different planet, hey, what's his father like? Boom. Bardock DLC. You get what I'm saying? So this Fusion Reborn, because I have a criteria that I feel like DLCs have to answer in order to merit a story DLC. And if you've been following the channel, then you probably know this criteria by now. And we're going to literally go through and check off all of these boxes with this idea that Dar has. And what I'm going to add some stuff to this now. It checks all those boxes. Number one, okay, is does it answer a unanswered question from the main game? That answer is absolutely yes. What question does that answer? Well, guys, remember how many of us was upset that in Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, they literally didn't show anything about Goku being in the other world after he died in the fight against Cell. They showed a little bit against Raditz, okay, where we trained on King Kai's planet, and it was all a cutscene. We didn't do anything on Snake Way or anything. So for those of us who know, it's like, why is that entire part missing? That was very significant. It's even where Goku learned how to go Super Saiyan 3 and where he went Super Saiyan 2 for the first time, actually, you know? And then it turned into, I want you to think back with the Trunks DLC. We even talked about this on the channel where with the Trunks DLC, remember whenever during the Cell saga, and I mentioned this and it actually happened in the DLC, exactly how I said, where we said, hey, at the end of the Cell saga, why doesn't it show Trunks coming back, going back to his time and killing the androids in Cell? And once the Trunks DLC was announced, I was like, wow, we're gonna have that in the DLC. And it came. So it was left out of the main game and added to make a unique story in the DLC. Guys, that I feel like is exactly what's going to happen. They are going to kind of like banking off of what Dar said, because he has an amazing point. They're going to take the Otherworld story that was not put in the main game, where Goku goes to the Otherworld, and they're going to add it to the Fusion Reborn. And they're going to make a complete DLC based off of that. Because it answers the question, hey, when Goku died after fighting Cell, what happened? Hey, when did Goku learn to go Super Saiyan 3? All of that is going to explain it. So, it answers that first question. What's the next question? The next question is, does it fit the game structure in a sense of having training, having somewhere to eat? Okay, it answers both of those. While Goku was in Otherworld, he trained with King Kai. Okay, he trained with King Kai in the Otherworld. Remember, he was getting ready for the tournament and he had to train. King Kai put the weights on him. Dar mentions that in here. Like I said, go pause this and read it. He has some amazing points. King Kai adds the weights to Goku. And guys, those were very significant scenes because it was so cool, you know, watching Goku, you know, well, I guess I'll go Super Saiyan, you know, powering up and training, you know. So it answers the training part. There was definitely training in the Otherworld being done. Goku actually, in order to go Super Saiyan 3, guys, if you look up the lore in that, it's only achieved through training. And I know you might say, well, how was Gotenks able to do it? Gotenks was in the hyperbolic time chamber when he learned to go Super Saiyan 3. So in a sense, he was kind of training in a way. But that could be a retcon or whatever the case may be. But it's there. So also, where does Goku eat? Funny thing is, in Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, you have actual vendors. Remember the little machines that you can buy food from? Well, guys, if you remember the World Tournament or the other World Tournament, they actually put, I'm sorry, let me pause that. They actually put vendors outside of the stadium for them to be able to eat food. Go and watch it. But not only that, but Goku had a meal, a significant meal in the other World Tournament. Okay. So it answers the question of being able to eat. It also, and he could also eat on King Kai. They were on the Grand Kai's planet with all of this was going on. So that's the center hub for this. Goku is able to use instant transmission to go to King Yima's place and to Home for Infinite Losers. So all of those boxes are checked. Training, eating. Does it answer major questions, unanswered questions in the stories in the main game's lore? Okay. Now, what are some other questions that this could answer? Okay. Every DLC brings something new that carries over into the main game. And the reason I before ruled out Fusion Reborn was because I felt like, Goku going Super Saiyan 3, it's already in the game. But there's some new moves that we haven't seen. There's 2 new moves that Goku does in Fusion Reborn as a Super Saiyan 3. So therefore, you can add to his playstyle. You can add that to his character there. But the biggest thing is what you're looking at here is Fusion. By doing Fusion Reborn, you unlock the ability to fuse and make Gogeta in the main game. Because, once again, another question is presented. Hey, Goku and Vegeta fuse using the Potara earrings. You have to think like a new guy to Dragon Ball, guys. Goku and Vegeta used the Potara earrings and made Vegito. But Goten and Trunks did a different kind of fusion. So a new person to it would be like, hey, can Goku and Vegeta do that same fusion? Bam. Gogeta's introduced. You see what I'm saying? This theory that Dar has come up with to combine it with what happened in the main game is really, very, really plausible. And like I said, they did the same thing to make the History of Trunks DLC, guys. They took some stuff from the main game via, not the main game. They took some stuff from the main anime and stuff whenever during the Cell Saga it showed Trunks going back fighting the androids. It showed him fighting Cell. That was in main Dragon Ball Z. And they took that and added it to the History of Trunks along with some other things. And bam, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, Trunks, Warrior of Hope. All right. So Fusion Reborn, if you combine it with and guys, the Otherworld tournament, that answers another question because a lot of these new DLCs bring new game modes and things like that to the game. Okay. Fukasu no F bought you the Frieza battle. Like you could unlimitedly fight Frieza as a training partner. Kind of same thing with Beerus. Fukasu no F DLC brought Hordes mode. Okay. It didn't carry over into the main game, but it was something unique to that particular DLC. The Beerus one was the training against Beerus, History of Trunks brought you some new movesets and transformations for Trunks that carried over into the main game. Now, after you beat the DLC, there's nothing unique about it because those little android things, they're not there anymore. You'd have to play the story over again. But it brought a new mechanic, a new diversity to the game, and a new skill set in the sense that you had to avoid being caught by the androids. Bardock, we're waiting to see what that could bring. I got a video of that. But with Fusion Reborn, you not only bring Gogeta Fusion into the main game, but for the DLC itself, guys, you have the Otherworld tournament. So it answers the question of what unique thing would be brought out in the DLC, the Otherworld tournament. Because that was monumental for Goku's life in the Otherworld was the tournament. Like, and then the major question is having multiple boss fights. Because we know to have a story DLC, boss battle episode is one person. You train with Whis, but you're fighting Beerus. In Fukasu no F, boss battle episode because it's only one boss, Frieza. Yeah, you fight the Hordes, guys, but that's more training. In the story, you fight both androids multiple times, by the way. You even train against Gohan in a pretty big fight. And then you have the Cell fight. And then you have the additional stuff fighting the Buru. There's multiple boss fights in a story. Because a story arc is it's made up of several episodes. Okay? And episodes in Dragon Ball Z Kakarot are made up of several subquests. So if you're looking at it in building something, you have a subquest. Multiple subquests make an episode. Multiple episodes make a complete arc. If you confused on that, go check out my early Kakarot videos where I break that kind of stuff down. So Fusion Reborn combined with the Otherworld events will be enough content to make a full story mode. A full story arc for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, guys. So Dar, once again, thank you, man. Because that is completely plausible now. And before, I was like, nah, Fusion Reborn wouldn't work. But I stand corrected. It can easily work. And you know what? Now that I look at it that way, I'd love to see it. Because I would love to play. And that's what I told him in the comments. If you look at my reply to him, my first one said I like to set proper expectations. I don't get so much into what I'd like to see. That way I can see what direction they probably will go with things. And what I mean by that, guys, is a lot of y'all have amazing ideas, but they're really based off, some people really force their ideas. He didn't force his idea. He came with plausible evidence. And guys, this is right in line with the type of stuff that I talk about. I always say, okay, this and this and this. I just never thought of it. I completely forgot about the other world stuff. And he brought it back to my attention. And see, that was 7 hours ago. I was still at work. And now I'm replying, I don't know. I saw this earlier, but I was at work. Now it's set. And oh my gosh, you have an extremely good point here. And I'm going to expand on it in the next video, which I'm doing right now. So kudos, man. Big shout out to you. You see what I'm saying? So combine the events from the other world with Fusion Reborn, guys, and you have more than enough to have a very interesting and exciting DLC that falls in line with it being a story arc. Now, if this is the next one after Bardock, then it raises the question, are they going to do Cooler or are they going to do Broly? Like, the Broly DLC is extremely plausible, but this Fusion Reborn, it's got me rethinking a lot of things, and it's bringing me back to my prime, how I used to cover things on this channel. So I'm really grateful for that, guys. But let me know what y'all think, dude. This is dope. I'm sorry to do such a long video, but man, it's so much information, and it's not fair to break it down into multiple videos just for the sake of having multiple videos. Y'all know I'm not for that. Okay. Not to mention, Fusion Reborn by itself is about 51 minutes long. Now, as far as playable characters, of course, Goku would be playable. Pikkon, he made a good point here as well, where Pikkon would be playable in the sense of how Gohan was playable in the History of Trunks DLC. That's very fitting because Pikkon doesn't last. He's there for the entire fight, pretty much. Not to mention, in the other world, you get to fight Cell again, as well as Frieza and Captain Ginyu them. Like, that is perfect, guys. That is perfect. Like, there's multiple fights between Fusion Reborn and the other thing, the other world stuff that happened in the game. And even if you look at the poster for it, guys, look at the poster itself, man. I mean, you got. Oh, I didn't mean to click that off. In the Fusion Reborn, you got Goten and Trunks there, so their fusion is already, you know, a part of things. You've got Frieza, you've got Nappa, you've got Cooler, which really Cooler hasn't even been introduced yet, so it's even possible for them to go and do Cooler first and then do Fusion Reborn. Like, just going through the whole, you know, screenshots of things. You see what I'm saying? Janemba, you got Gohan right there fighting a different version of Frieza. Okay, Gogeta looking badass, you know. So Goten and Trunks, like, dude, this is a little bit different stuff, but y'all get what I'm saying. They were featured in there a little bit in Fusion Reborn, but you got so much going on, man. And it is super possible, dude. Like, Vegeta probably would be more of a support character. And guys, guess what? It even ties into answering the question as to what happened to Vegeta after he died during the Majin Buu fight. Because remember, Goku was brought back, but this was after the other world. Vegeta was able to come back later on, and it was due to those events, I think, that what happened in the other world. You see what I'm saying? And then you got the other world drawn up here and stuff. Dude, it is perfect. You've got two different locations that you can go to. The other world can be sort of the hub station. You know what I'm saying? Right here, Grand Kai's Palace. This is the hub location. Otherworld Tournament could be one of those special things to the DLC. Then you got Hell or Home for Infinite Losers, where the fight with Janemba takes place. King Yemma's Palace. Like, dude, there's so much content here, dudes. There's so much content. Super Saiyan 3 can have those 2 new moves that are in the movie. It's there, man. It is completely 150% there. Also to mention, Gotenks is there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is all there, man. Like, you got the jacked up fusions as well. You got PyCon, Gogeta, Fat Gogeta, Skinny Gogeta. Like, I can't believe it, man. I'm like floored by this, and I hope that y'all are too. Also, instant transmission is pretty significant, so they could introduce that as well. And I got a little treat about that coming about the PS5 upgrade. So let me know what y'all think, dudes. Like, at this point, if Fusion Reborn is not one of the DLCs, I'd actually be upset, because if they do it this way, it not only give us the other world stuff that we missed in the main game, but it also gives us the Gogeta Fusion as well as a radical boss. I didn't even really talk about Janemba, bro. I didn't even talk about Janemba, man, but Janemba would be a freaking amazing fun boss to play, man. And there's some interesting things in here as well, because you got Frieza, you got the fight with Frieza, you got the Ginyu Force here that Gohan's fighting on Earth, so it can even be with them, the Frieza Force. But what's interesting is you even have Bojack Nim, dude. You got a lot of the movie villains. There go Paragus right there. So, guys, it's possible that they could actually do it as a final DLC in DLC 2. It may not even be the second one, simply because, you know, with Bojack being there, you fighting Bojack as Gohan and stuff like that, and the Cooler and the Cooler Force, like, you're literally fighting a lot of enemies that you've already battled. So it can be interesting, man. You got a little Hitler in there, man. Some Hitler action for Goten and Trunks. You know, like, there's so much content here, y'all. There is so much freaking content here, and I'm stoked about this. I am really, really stoked about this. CC2, if this is not one of your DLCs, if y'all don't plan on doing this for DLC 2 or 3 in Season Pass, by all means, y'all have got to find a way to make this a DLC, because there is so much here, man. There is so much here that you could easily make a really, really, really good DLC, man. I'm excited about it. I hope y'all are excited about it too, man. Dar, once again, man, many, many, many thanks. Many thanks, dude, because without you, dude, I wouldn't have even gave that a second guess. So, guys, that's all I got for right now. I appreciate y'all. We'll talk more about this at another day. Till next time, thanks for watching. Peace.